Hello, YouTube family and friends. Today, I'm going to be making a double crusted blackberry cobbler. So stay with me and follow along, and you'll know exactly how I do my blackberry cobbler. So I've got you over here at the stove. Now I've got a total of 4 cups of blackberries. Now my neighbor brought me down these blackberries. Now these are fresh blackberries, but I put them in the freezer, and she had labeled 2 cups per bag. So that's a total of 8 cups. And that should be enough for my 9x13 pan. Now I've got my burner on high. I've got all the blackberries in there. Now I'm going to start adding my ingredients. To start off with, I'm only going to use a cup of sugar. Why? Because I'm not sure how tardy these blackberries are. And then I'll taste and see if they need more. So I'm going to use half of this. So that gives me a cup left. Let's give that a good stir. Boy, these are some big blackberries. She has her own blackberry bushes, or whatever you call it. Now to that, we are going to add some cinnamon. I'm going to take the cap off of that, and I'm going to use a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now what I like to do is add cinnamon to a little bit of sugar. I'm going to put my cinnamon in the cup, put a little bit of sugar to that. And what this does, it will help the cinnamon mix up a lot better. If you ever put cinnamon in a pot of whatever you're fixing, it just wants to float on top. But if you add it to sugar, it won't do that. Now I'm also going to add a teaspoon of nutmeg to that. And we're just going to give this a good mix. Give it a good stir. Mix all the sugar and the cinnamon and the nutmeg up together. And then we're going to add that here in a bit. We're going to add about a tablespoon of vanilla. You know, I just don't like to measure, so I'm just guessing. There we go. That vanilla will give it real good taste. And to that, we are going to add a cup of water. 1 cup of water. Now I will leave the recipe up on the screen or in my description. And then that way you'll have the recipe. Let's give that a good mix. Oh yeah. I always like to use a wooden spoon. Now I'm going to use, I've got a little bit of water in a cup, and I'm going to mix some cornstarch, and I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I'm going to put it in that water. You want to make sure that's mixed up really well. And the reason you do that, never put cornstarch in hot water. You just don't do that. It will clump up on you. And I like the cornstarch much better than I do flour. Cornstarch will help it thicken much quicker. Now you don't want your blackberries to be too thick or too thin when you're making a blackberry cobbler. And I've got that mixed up really well. And I'll add that here in just soon as this comes to a boil, then I'll add that cornstarch. I'm also going to add about a half a stick of butter. Oh my goodness. Butter makes everything much better. Well, that's my oven going off. So we're just going to add about a half a stick of butter. Going to add chunks. Well, maybe not. It wouldn't come off the spoon. Go figure. I'll tell you what, I love blackberry cobbler. I love peach cobbler. And I was so thankful my neighbor brought these down. Ain't nothing like good old-fashioned blackberry cobbler. And in the end, you put you some vanilla ice cream on it. Oh my goodness. So we're going to give that a few minutes for it to come to a complete boil. The reason why I like to do this on top of the stove is, one, when it's all hot and oh so delicious looking, and you pour this in your pan to bake, it won't take long to bake because it's already been cooked. Mostly you just have to wait for your crust to brown. Oh my goodness. And I will taste this to make sure I have enough sugar in this. Because like I said, fresh berries can be a little on the tarty side versus if you're buying the berries from a grocery store, they tend to be a little bit sweeter. So I'm going to taste this. Oh. Okay, so that is sweet enough. That was 1 cup of sugar. And let's get that a-going. So, while this is going, I'm going to move you over to the counter and let's put the crust in the dish. Okay, I'm over here at the counter, and what I'm using is Pillsbury crust, pre-made. All you have to do, take it out of your plastic it comes in. You get 2 to a box and roll it out, and you're good to go. I use this a lot. It's very good crust. And let's roll this out just a bit. I know it's not going to be big enough for my dish, but that's okay. This double crusted blackberry cobbler I love, love, love. So let's get this over in the pan here so it will not come up. It's almost not big enough, but it's not going to matter. But this is how you do it, y'all. This is home cooking. Except for I did it the lazy way today by not having to make homemade crust. If you want the recipe for homemade crust, I do have videos of that. And if you want to make your own, I've got to go over here and check the stove. Okay, I've got you back over here at the stove. And we are going to add our cinnamon and nutmeg that I mixed up in a little bit of sugar. And we're going to distribute that here in this pot of blackberries. And you'll see what I mean. See that cinnamon? It just mixed up really well in there. Let me move you a little bit closer. Hope you can see that. Oh yeah. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Now, we are going to add our cornstarch and water. This is to help thicken this juice. It's like that. Let's give that a good mix. Oh yeah. It's already thickening up, and that's good. That's what we want. That's why I like to use cornstarch instead of flour, because that cornstarch, it just thickens much faster. You could just see it. Oh yeah. And that's what you're looking for, my friends. So I'm going to turn the burner off and let this set a few minutes while we go back over and do the other top crust. Okay, now we're getting ready for the top crust. Let's roll this out a bit. And I'm going to make kind of like a lattice top. Now, if I made homemade crust, I would make it large enough to cover that whole 9 by 13 dish. So I know this isn't going to fit perfectly on this, so I'm going to cut some strips out. And we'll just use that for the top. Let's cut this off here, kind of make them a little even. Set them aside because we will use it. So try to make them as wide as you want, as thin as you want. You know, this is home cooking, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing's perfect in this kitchen. I'm using kind of wide strips and see what we can do with this. And I may thin them out some. Just like that. I could have used my pizza cutter. But why when I already have this? See, this looks good. Well, that one's a little bit wider, but that's okay. Now I'm going to cut the ends of these off because I want this to be almost perfect. But anyway, set it aside. Don't throw that away. Don't throw nothing away. Okay, so let's pull these up. Set them aside. And then we're going to bring our pot of blackberries over and put them in this dish. Okay, so I'm going to go get the blackberries. So look at these delicious blackberries. That is what you're looking for. You want it to be a little soupy. It will thicken as this bakes. So we are going to now put this over here in my baking dish. And I'm going to scoop it out because I don't want this splattering everywhere. And I don't want it to splatter all over my clothes. Let's just spread that all out. Now, I do not par bake my crust or pre-bake. Some would call it. So what do you call it? Do you call it par bake your crust? Pre-bake? You know, this smells delicious enough just to eat it the way it is. Put this in a little dish, put you some ice cream on it. Oh my goodness. Now I think I may be able to, I'm sorry if you can't see this, my arm's in the way. I think I got enough to where I can now just pour the rest of it without it splattering. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to get me a spatula, because I want to get all of that out of there. Every bit of it. Rake it, scoop it, do whatever you have to get all that goodness out of there. Yep. This video that I am doing, it is unedited. What you see is what you get. I don't have time for all that editing. Whoop, there we go. Move that aside. Now I want you to look at this, people. Now, what we're going to do is take these strips and just lay them on top. I'm going to take those little bitty pieces that I trimmed off, and I'm just going to lay them in there. Just like that. Kind of make like a dumpling. I also got a video on Blackberry dumplings. So I'll try to leave that at the end of the video if you want to see that, and click on it and watch the videos of that. Just lay that in there. Here we go. I don't even know if I'm going to have enough to crisscross this. I'm just using what I have in my refrigerator. Look at that. I didn't want to have to go to the store and buy some more crust. So it's still going to be good, y'all. That. See there? But I do not par bake my crust. You don't need to, because the bottom will get crusty. Never did have a problem with that. Just like that. That's all you gotta do. Pinch them down. Now, this is gonna go in the oven on 375 degrees for about 40 minutes. So, I'm going to go put that in the oven, and when it's done, I'll bring it out and show you this delicious blackberry cobbler. I want to show you it's in the oven, and it is on the center rack. You want to bake this on your center rack, because if you put it in the bottom, the crust will get really, really crispy real quick. Okay, so it has been exactly 45 minutes and she is ready to come out of the oven. Look at that. Oh my word. It is absolutely delicious looking. Put it up. We need to turn the oven off. I like to leave my oven open a bit. Hey, that kind of helps warm up the kitchen some more. Let's turn this off. And then I will get you over here to the stove. It is bubbling up. How beautiful does that look? I only wish I had an extra crust to put on top, but it's okay. It's still gonna be good, y'all. I'm gonna let this rest for about 10 minutes and then I will dish some up and do a taste test. So we are ready to dish some of this up with the scoop of ice cream. See how this baby turned out? Oh my goodness. The cornstarch was just enough. Now the difference between a pie and a cobbler is a pie will be much, much thicker. And you want some juice in a cobbler. And again, the reason why I don't par bake or blind bake the crust is you don't need to. Look at the bottom of that. See how brown the bottom is? There's no need to par bake or blind bake your crust when you're doing a cobbler. So let's do some ice cream. Oh my goodness. It's gonna be good, y'all. Look at that. Set this aside. I just wish there was more lighting in my kitchen, but there isn't. You do what you gotta, you do with what you have. And look, oh my. Is this good or what? Yummy, yummy, yummy to my tummy. Oh. Doesn't get any better than this. I could sit here and eat this whole bowl right here in front of you all, but I don't want to tease you. You just have to make this and see for yourself. But have at least 4 pie crusts, 2 for the bottom and 2 for the top, if you're making a large batch. And remember, you want a smaller batch, just half the ingredients, and you're good to go. Very, very good. Well, until the next video, as always, Don't forget to give me that thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and please share. And remember, as always, be kind in your words. Till the next time, y'all have a wonderful and blessed day.